7, 6, 5, 20 seconds. At least it's not minutes. And then we've got 30 seconds of the actual intro before it presents to me. To moi. Oh, well. Pardon? Well, welcome. I wasn't going to say welcome, but it's one of those things you kind of had you break into a live show. To start off with, most important thing, as CEOs, we have all pretty much sensed that something's been wrong for quite some time. You know, the kind of story, the pipeline looks active, Martech's running, SDRs are busy, BDRs are busy, but growth is either low, slow, or just simply unpredictable. And that is architectural failure. It's not execution failure. So you don't need more activity. You need an architectural redesign that establishes a commercial operating system, and certainly not another tech stack. So if your annual recurring revenue, your FTE, is weakening or getting worse while your Martech stack expands, that says the architecture's broken. So this live show series marks the beginning of a new phase for B2B businesses and new business development particularly, and revenue increase. So I'm Nigel Main, I'm the founder of salesXchange and the architect of the B2B commercial, the B2B commercial operating system. We call it a GTM OS, which is built around sales and not marketing. And I'm assuming that you run a business that sells tech, SaaS or services, so you're a sales company and you're not a marketing company. This is quite important. So to answer that kind of niggling question in the back of your mind, I think that we've all had and constantly have is that there must be something better out there. You know, or are we simply, maybe we're just not doing it right? The bottom line is, you stick around and you'll see something that is so radical, and it is simple. It will leave you wondering why we didn't do this years ago. And the point of the live shows, you could say, is like to, I don't know, put up a banner, put up a flag, put up a kind of lighthouse, because this is not about doing a pitch every week. You know, I've done that. It's on the website. You know, you can go and watch that whenever. And we want to cover different aspects of this kind of new way of working and look at how the processes can be changed and talk about the change process itself. Yeah. And of course, there are going to be questions, and you'll have questions, and you can send them to me or message me or whatever, and I'll answer them every week. But what we definitely do know is that nobody needs another staged webinar kind of type delivery. But I do think we need to be visible as we're challenging the entire B2B Martech industry. You know, at the end of the day, I'm always up for a challenge. So back in the day, we always knew that people buy people. This day, or we still do. Over the past 20 years, that whole process has shifted from relation-led selling to lead gen theatrics and statistics, the kind that keeps marketers employed. And when it goes wrong, sales gets blamed. So I think the bottom line is B2Bs need to understand three main things. I think is the best way to put it. How, or should I say when, consumer marketing logic entered into B2B, and why the tools that are available only optimize activity but not buyer readiness. And that's why the whole BDR, SDR type mathematics fails at that total addressable market scale. And so really the first thing is how did this problem evolve? I mean, it's critical, absolutely critical, because we've all been doing this for 20, 25 years, you know, the whole digital thing. So when you understand that consumer demand gen works for the consumer industries because they're selling clothes, luxury brands, cars, insurance, and 100% they're not going to call you. You just know you're not going to get cold called by anybody in those brands. The Martech industry drove this B2B confusion with SEO, pay-per-click, and all the advocates. But the advocates were the employed marketers who'd been wined and dined by Martech and instructed CEOs, you've got to buy this Martech, you've got to buy all this SaaS, and you might fail, you know, if it's not working, you know. It's not my fault. It's got nothing to do with me. It's just you're not investing enough. And so you've also got the whole process to do with BDRs. So they're cold calling, they're doing one-to-one. They're trying to reach your market one at a time. And that's why the success rate is in the region of, well, it was 300 to 1, then 400 to 1, then 500 to 1, of finding someone that might be interested. So over the time, marketing teams got bigger, they got more budget, more dependency, louder voice. But the reality is B2B buyers don't buy like consumers. We never have. So we self-serve, self-educate, remain anonymous, calculate the ROI. That's what we do. And that's why you've got that enormous 86% of that silent journey. I mean, let me I'm not going to do, like I said, I'm not going to do this whole thing based on lots of slides and so on, but have a look at this. I'll show you this one. Not that one. But that dotted line shows the dividing line between learning and buying, and that's the silent journey. And when you look at that and realize if you've got a 9-month lead time, then the 86% is going to be about 55 months. That's like 5 years. But then that fits in, strangely, that fits in with that whole process of mission, strategy, tactics. So you've got a 10-year mission plan, a 5-year in terms of strategy, and 3 for tactics. So that all fits with that lead time of people looking to buy stuff. So the point is that, you know, when you look at this whole process that we've been given, you go, well, we've got all this tech, we spend thousands and thousands every month. So why hasn't it changed anything? And if you look at the market, we're relying on cold calling, demand gen, lead gen, AB, and pay-per-click, but less than 1% converts. And if you look at the failure rate over the past 20 years, It's like 20, 30, 50, 70. So 20% fell in the first year, 30% in the second, 50% in the third. By year 10, 70%, compound that, 91.6% of all businesses fail. And it doesn't matter whether you're bootstrapped or invested, it's going to happen. And you've got to let that sink in. The Martech has not changed anything. Businesses fail at the same rate as they always have done. And even if you look at invested companies, 40% fail, 70%, 70 or 80% don't reach their own targets, 95% don't make an ROI for the investors. So there's a big problem going on here, and it kind of makes you think, well, you're going to go, well, what are we going to do? And if your annual recurring revenue, full-time equivalent, is only knocking out around about 80, 90 grand, that's too low to be sustainable. That's really important. And if you look at the process that we've been, you could say, subjected to, you know, you're looking at all this technology coming in, and then you've got those green arrows. One of them says 97% buyers hate filling out forms. The other one says that you've got a success rate in cold calling of 400 to 1. And now you've got what everybody's doing is scrape and spam. And so it begs the question, what are we supposed to be doing? And where are B2Bs now? So really, kind of to understand this complete predicament, this is kind of me talking from my perspective. For anybody to understand this predicament properly, they must have experienced it. Otherwise, you've got no business talking about it. So, just very briefly, I've been involved in sales and marketing for 40 odd years. I started selling in Mayfair back in the mid 80s, and so that those of you that know, cold calling in the rain, sleet, and snow, yeah, all that kind of stuff, and telesales and doing everything right from the ground up, to then founding a variety of tech startups, and now this. So, trust me, I got the t-shirts, yeah. But as a result of B2Bs, I suppose the only way I can put this is B2Bs have been told what to do by marketing for the past 25 years. And speaking from personal experience and businesses and CEOs I've spoken to over the past few decades, pretty much everyone's of the same opinion. Yeah? We are wary of anything marketers say, because they end up blaming sales or blaming their budget. I mean, even investors. Investors believe B2Bs must adhere to the whole demand gen, lead gen, ABM, pay-per-click infrastructure. Because why? Because everybody on their lists who they work with as investors put it in their business plan. So according to them, well, it must be right. So if you don't put it on your business plan, then, or you're doing something wrong. So here's the thing. So I'm presenting this case that says there's a bit of a big problem here, and we've built a system. But for anybody to think, all right, I'll give you 5 minutes, give me your best shot. What we as CEOs are thinking is, firstly, your total addressable market. So you got some new approach. We've got our total addressable market, and you want to communicate and sell to your total addressable market. So first, it's your total. You've got to identify that group, and you probably already did it because it's part of your business plan. They were the people why you started your business in the first place. So if we're going to take a snapshot of what's going on before you look at any new product or suggestion, say for example, just as an example, say your total addressable market was 10,000 businesses, say in the UK. But bearing in mind, there are 212,000 businesses, 10 to 50 employees. 38,000 businesses, 50 to 250, and 8,000 businesses above that. So taking whatever you do, say it was 10,000, give or take. And now if you look at the curve chart, where is it? It's here somewhere. Here it is. If you look at the curve chart, if you've got 10,000 businesses, there they are. They're made up of, as you know, innovators, early adopters, early late majority, and laggards. But the people that are looking are at the beginning. Yeah, they're the ones you want to sell to because they're active. Yeah, but you want to be selling to them. But first, you've got to find them, and calling them one at a time is simply not going to cut it. So we've all got a wish list, and I've done this for you, if that makes sense, and you'll see where I'm coming from in a second. So firstly, anyone that's going to come up with some new idea to go and change something or change the way that we're working, because let's face it, nobody believes or perceives that there is an alternative because everybody does the same thing. Everybody's got, and the reason I'm bouncing backwards and forwards on these slides is because I don't want this to be not death by PowerPoint, you know what I mean? I mean, it can get a bit boring, but if you look at that, we know what all the, HubSpot, Eloqua, Marketo, Pardot, and so on. We know about all the marketing automation platforms. We know all the stuff that we're told to buy. So if someone's going to come up with some new solution, you better make sure that you've got something to say. So how about this? Any solution must, and there's lots of musts, must make money and demonstrate an enormous ROI. It's fair. It's got to be low cost. It's got to enable us to cut costs and save money from day one. It's got to reduce overheads. It's got to increase exposure to our total addressable market. To genuinely be automated, like set and forget automated. It's got to deliver a great experience to prospects and to customers. Staff have got to be able to execute the process. We want our own software. Fed up with spending thousands or tens of thousands or more on SaaS and external platforms for everybody. I mean, bearing in mind, this blows me away. So, Chief Martech's website, and every year they do an infographic about all the different software SaaS platforms that are out there. And they Martech, so it was just related to marketing stuff. And it started off with, I can't remember the year now, I think it's like 2006 or 8, so something like that. So it started off around about then. And they monitored the growth of Martech SaaS. Guess how many it is now? It's 15,000 marketing SaaS platforms. And if you think that if you did excluding AI, but if you looked at the same kind of comparison and looked at the total number of software packages that are out there for every other industry as well, circa 30-odd thousand. So half of them were marketing related. So software, got to be in-house. We want our own servers. We want to control everything ourselves and so on. And then, okay, while we're at it, we want it to set us apart from our competition, to give us a spectacular edge. What else? Constant analytics to see what's working and the impact that we're actually having. And we want it to enable us to grow effortlessly, not just nationally, but internationally, if that's the thing, if that's something for you. And like I said, to be completely self-sufficient in terms of hardware, software, and overall execution. So typically, anyone would think most of what I've just said is impossible. And it would have been. Until I designed it and built it. And I'm using it now. I'm literally using it right now. And actually, you're like this, you're part of it. You're already part of it. You're embedded in it. If you've seen the posts, the emails, the banners, the other posts on whether it's LinkedIn or wherever, you're part of it. And it's a system. It's a structured, automated system that is functioning beyond anything that I could imagine. It's amazing. I mean, it's just so cool. I mean, I've actually wanted something like this forever, and I know that every salesperson in the world would be a path to your door to get you to install it. But, it's a big but here, not so fast. I don't want anyone to rush at this. And I think if you're like me, you want to self-serve, self-educate, yeah, confirm the ROI before you do anything, and that's why I'm doing the live shows. So each week I'll be showing and explaining, kind of demoing what we're doing and answering questions, and you can comment below like you can on anything that's live, or on LinkedIn or YouTube or on our website. But the point is that we are demonstrating this transparency and accessibility. And of course, you know, there'll be people out there, businesses out there, that on that curve, they're right at the beginning, the innovators who want the tools immediately. And I showed you the curve. Excuse me. But the thing about the curve, and this is what I find quite special, really, is that I've got this illustration here. These are your customers. Forget mine. These are your customers. These are the people. If you've got your prospects, your best prospects are at that front. Those are the first stage, the 16%. Yeah. So you need to have a method that enables you to reach out and connect with them, because that's where the business is, not at the other end of the scale. And phoning one at a time, not working. Doesn't work. Stopped working. Did it ever work? Probably in the 80s, early 80s, maybe the 90s. But the thing is, once you see what we've got to offer, and I think you'll decide what you want to do. Yeah, and this is. I'm saying this deliberately because it is complicated to an extent. And the reason I say it's complicated is that if we've been doing this for the past 20 years, switching from something is difficult for a number of reasons. And I think one of the kind of more a thing that we can do now, which we couldn't do before, put salesXchange and our URL, put it into ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, whoever you're using, and ask the LLM to give you a full report on salesXchange. And I say this because it's pretty one-sided out there, and until now, really, let's face it, no one's really had a choice, because of HubSpot, Pardot, Marketo, and so on, and the whole demand gen, lead gen, ABM, pay-per-click, and SEO. That you just have to do it that way. But to come along and say there's a different way, I'm telling you, it works, it's brilliant. It just makes you have to stand up, kind of take a step back and think, okay, well, let's just take this a bit of a stage at a time. And talking of stages, let's talk about this GTM operating system that's been designed. There are 5 stages, okay? And I'll show you some of the slides, but what I don't want to do is just, like I said, make this just a pitch. I just want to give you this overview, this suggestion, because we've got plenty of time. I'm doing this next week and the week after and the week after. You can dip in whenever you want. You can watch me live whenever you want. But you can go on the website. I mean, everything's on the website. It's completely open access. I'll come on to that right now. So the thing is 5 stages, and it's pretty simple, because it's aligned to how you and how we both buy. It's not being clever. It's just saying this is how we do it, isn't it? So the first thing we start off with it's a preparation, is open access education. It's about teaching your customers how and why they should buy from you. And I think that once your prospects get to know who you are and what you're doing, you put call to action links on everything that you put out, but you just get rid of those demand gen forms on your website. You know they put you off, but they also put your prospects off too. And that's the kind of the critical stage of this. Self-serve, self-educate, remain anonymous. How can you remain anonymous if you're giving out your details? I won't give mine out. And if anyone tries to contact me cold, I won't answer it. I won't speak to them. Which is why you've got exec assistants, and nobody can contact you, because if everybody could contact you, you would have every single BDO in the world beating a path to your door wanting to talk to you. Oh yeah, I spoke to someone today. So, open access is the starting point. So the next thing is reach, and what we've got here. This is the structure that we've got. And so we've got reach, which is reaching your total addressable market. Live, here we are. Connect, ops, and hub. And we'll come onto the course a bit later, and I'll explain about that as well. So the point is that SX Reach starts with social, and it's basically consistent exposure and visibility to your TAM. So the fact that everybody wants to remain anonymous, yeah, no one wants you to know that they're looking at your website or your content or anything that will identify them. And if you think about lead scoring, reverse IP lookup, I think it's lead forensics, Candy, a variety of others, saying, oh look, they're looking. And now what they're doing, they'll connect. So you've got a business organisation here. On the other side, you've got consumer analysis. So if you look at these two big data lakes out there, that's all business and that's all consumer. And someone, on the consumer side, someone buys something. So say a CEO bought something for their child. That IP information gets linked to the business information. So they've got your IP address on this side, and now they've got your IP address on the other side. Match it up. You'll get calls on your mobiles. How did you get my number? Oh, I'd have to, whatever. So now you can see why it's like an element of desperation. Okay, but the whole exposure strategy needs to be based upon them staying anonymous, and it must incorporate repetition. There's a book called Thinking Fast and Slow. Lots of people say that they've read it. Some do, some don't. And the thing is that page 66 shows how much I took notice. Page 66 and around about there, there's a colleague of Daniel Kahneman called Robert Zajonc. So Thinking Fast and Slow is what Kahneman said was, you hear things regularly and so on, and it makes you think, because you've heard it so often, it must be right, so you think it's correct. Because it requires, they call it System 1, it doesn't require processing, that makes sense. Whereas if something is not familiar, you have to stop and research it and so on. So you've got speed and you've got research. Research is slower. You then got Robert Zajonc, who looked at repetition. And with animals, if an animal saw another animal walking past it on a regular basis and it didn't eat it, it was probably safe. And that's where you've got this whole repetition, and you look at repetition on television adverts and all that kind of stuff. And so there's this element of ongoing repetition, And even what I'm doing now, a certain number of people will watch this. Next week, could be the same, could be different, could be more, could be less. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. As long as it keeps happening. And this is the same with the information that gets sent to your prospects. So, I mean, if you've seen my content, so what I do, I combine a primary call to action and a secondary call to action, which you've basically seen it. If you've seen the posts, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe I should do the right thing and just show you one here. There we go. The post itself, which you've seen, there's text across the top and there's a link. Download the PDF. Which I have to say, I did the revenue reset series just recently. I've had the most amazing response from it ever in my history, which is great, which proves the point. So you've got a primary call to action, which is, here's have something on me, it's free, I want you to read it. But of course, when they're reading it, I know they know my website, they know what we do, how we work, what we've got the live shows coming up, etc., etc. So I don't need their details. In fact, I don't want to speak to anyone until they're ready. And the secondary one, which is on all of our stuff that goes out, says we do a live show. You're watching it, it works. It's not, so you can see it's not complicated. And so the point of, as we're kind of moving on with this, is that it's about creating the content at scale, and we do this in a certain way. I'll show you this again. This on the left hand side. Let me go to this bit here, and I will show you. So just here, see here, we've got these. We've got three layers. We've got a banner layer, text, and call to action. We construct the posts. Yeah, we use an LLM for some of the text part of it, but we construct the post and send them out. You think, well, okay, seems fairly clever, but it's done automatically. I'm not doing this. This is done. It's an automated process I'm talking to you about. But you can produce 300, 400, 500 posts in about an hour. And then they get sent out every day on repeat. Not all of them. If you've got 300, that's 10 a day. 10 times 30, 300. Yeah? 30 days. And so there's this repetition, there's this information going out. But it also means that according to algorithms and so on, you are posting the same thing once a month. But to create, telling your teams to set up or to post out and create 200, 300, 400, 500 things is madness. They think you've got bananas. But the point is, the illustration of layers is important, and I think we're a little shy of 600 posts going out every month. And that alone, just that fact alone, means we've moved away from marketing and the creative process to a systemised architectural approach aimed at gradually becoming consistently visible to a market that wants to remain anonymous. Absolutely critical. So the next part, those posts go out to people you don't know, because they go on LinkedIn. For example, we'll just stick with LinkedIn. It goes on LinkedIn posts. So you and the company and anybody else that has accounts on LinkedIn can have this information sent to the people that they are connected to them. So suddenly you've exponentially increased your exposure massively. The next is the emails. And so when you send out emails, same thing applies. I'm looking at this, trying to find my emails now. The same thing applies. That you send out emails to people that you have an email list from. So you've already got it on your CRM, you've already got a database, and if you haven't, go and get one. Okay? Because the way that we work, so we're incorporating email and banners because they need to be incorporated strategically. So if you email as we've done, we incorporate the banners via LinkedIn aimed at the same market, and you use LinkedIn Campaign Manager for that. So this means they'll see your email, great. When they do go on LinkedIn, they'll see you again, which is even better. And it's about maintaining visibility. Like I said, to a market that want to remain anonymous. So you keep teaching, you keep offering educational content, no strings attached. And when they're ready, as always, they'll engage. So that's showing what we've got set up in terms of social posts, emails and banners. And everything drives traffic. All that activity drives traffic to your weekly live broadcast. So they get to know, like and trust you. And if you ever thought cameras, mics and lights were difficult, think again. I mean, once this process is set up, one button, press a button, you go live, like I'm doing now. There's nothing simpler. And if you think, you know, people want to listen to people talking. That's what happened, you know, during lockdown. You get a couple of sales guys, people within your company, proper, you know, well engaged, having a chat. That's what people want to do. That's what they want to look at. And that's why video or podcasts and video podcasts are so successful. Because people want to engage anonymously. And that's a fact. So then the next thing we move on to is what we call SX Connect. And I think this is cool. You'll like this. You'll like this. You'll definitely like this. So whether people are watching you live on your website, or they're watching your live show, or they're just on your website, doesn't matter. Look at the social post. You build in this, I suppose it's strategic activation, but at scale. So basically what I'm saying is anybody watching you can book a meeting with you once they feel comfortable. Go, do you know what I quite like this company. I think I could work with them. I want to find out a bit more. You know, they've downloaded, they've done this, they've done all the variety of different things. They now know, like, and trust you. And right now, depending on where you're watching us, you could be watching us on our website, on LinkedIn, or on YouTube. And in the description, as you've heard people say before, I'll just click the link in the description. Yep. And you can click a link in the description and book a meeting with me. You think, okay, well, there's nothing special about that, really. And if you see, you know, there's a big green button on the website, big green button. So when that button gets pressed, it will take them to a form. You go, okay, no great shakes about filling out a form. But the thing is that we've got this. This is they're not cascading forms. There's just some pages, because whenever you do a meeting, first thing you do is I need to collect some information to see who you are, what you do, and so on. So there's a few. There's contact and 4 pages, and it looks like that. Just averages. Tick, 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 tick. Job done. Finish filling out the form, click submit, book a date that suits, and wherever they are in the world, that meeting gets booked based upon location, expertise, or language. It's up to you. So this isn't your typical kind of app process. You know, your prospects would have spent time getting to know you, and they want to trust you. Because they're going, do you know what? I'll do this, and you could do it in your own time. Because on the form itself, there's click another button and it says, here's all the questions, give it to a subordinate, get them to go and fill out and get the information for you. And the thing is, you can click on it. If you click on our form, you can see exactly how it's structured, and that's what we call our kind of pre-meeting data fill. And you'll see why it makes sense. So once the meeting's booked, the data is passed, is processed, and the typical research that a salesperson would do is done for them using AI agents. And the research comes back in two forms. One is a full-on comprehensive report of everything, the company, the person, everything else. And that's and the second, and that first report is for the salesperson. It's not being used anyway. It's just for the salesperson to understand who this company is and who this person is before they speak to them. And the second one is a summary, and that summary is inserted into the standard proposal document, and it includes a cost comparison, because you've given us some. They've given you some approximate cost, so it's only approximate. So they book the meeting, it's scheduled for the right person, the proposal document's done, the costs are done, the cost comparison's done, and finally a slide deck's prepared incorporating the same type of costs, and it's all made and delivered to the salesperson. And if you're looking at doing this at scale, so say for example, you're in multiple countries, just as an example, in multiple countries. And we just go with English just for now, but you're in different countries. So all of the work is done. Because of this, you can reduce the amount of people that you have serving those countries, because they do this. The same level of quality, the same delivery, having a meeting with someone. I mean, it's just... it is everything that I've always wanted in sales. So, once the meeting's done, so you've had this meeting, and the salesperson has edited the costs, that's all. And they send it. Yeah? So once everything's set up, everything's done, everything's organised, the prospect's got all the details, and the salesperson goes into the system and says, been sent, this is the final cost, we've sent it to them. Job done. And that has got to be the best platform view anybody could ever want to see. You're starting from the top. You look up here, this bit here, so you know the effect of your social activity, the effect of your emails, the effect of your banners, the effect of your live streaming, and all of that results in a meeting, because that's what you wanted, wasn't it? You wanted lots of meetings with people. And the meetings are orchestrated and scheduled, and that was the result. Meetings booked, generated proposals, generated quotes sent, pipeline up to date. Just, I don't know, blows me away. And we've got, that we've I mean, I don't want to go through at this stage everything, but we've got a certain GTM dashboard. We've got how you structure and set up the emails and send them out. We've got where are we? Right the way to other ops related analytics and telemetry information and so on, dashboard related stuff. But we also integrate it with Looker, so you get information sent every week and every month. But if anybody at any time wants to see where are we at today, go on there. And then finally, what the other part to this is there's two parts. So you've got kind of talked about the physical architecture and what we offer. But one of the important things is that we have this, what we call SX Hub, and it's an integrated online database platform, Notion, if you know it. And that's kind of the information plane or layer that holds all the knowledge, all the operational guides, all the content. And the thing is, the fact that we've actually integrated it with ChatGPT, which means ask it a question, it will tell you how to do it. Anything within your business. And it knows who you are, what you do, everything. And the point is it's there to help teach anyone who doesn't know anything about the system, that is. So the point is that you're looking at this architectural infrastructure and simplifying the way that businesses are able to orchestrate new business. Before it was lots more people. And you've got this I suppose the best way to talk about it is about people to the people to profit ratio. And you'll understand this. So if you know anything about cameras, you know that if you change the shutter speed, you've got to change the ISO. If you want a faster shutter speed, you've got to increase the ISO, and so on. So you've got these kind of three-way things you've got to do. But in business, if you want more business, you think, oh, maybe we have to take on some more salespeople to get some more business in. No, definitely not. Marketing will say, well, if you want to do more business, you've got to take more of us on. No, definitely not. The opposite. In both cases. So we're looking at changing this ratio, the people productivity profitability ratio, because you can. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I said it earlier. The whole point of this is, and what I'm saying is that I'm not expecting you to go, I'll buy this, get this from salesXchange now. No, I want you to leave this and go, oh, there seems to be an alternative. Maybe we should find out about it. That's it. We're good. Now, the other part, which is really important, is that when you try and do anything different, can cause problems. I mean, this isn't just about plugging in a new server at your offices. You could say that the ongoing driver of this requires new thinking. And as you're probably aware, you've probably read everywhere, if you've got digital transformation, any new kind of structure or change management, it's got to be carefully considered. I mean, if it's not, it will lead to a lack of buy-in from a variety of people. And because of that, we developed a comprehensive online training series that is self-paced. It comes with automated certification, and this means multiple people can start thinking differently and developing input and sharing ideas. I mean, it also means you don't have to micromanage anyone. And it will take them a week or a month. It is about 30 hours. But we're talking about a transformative change in understanding about generating new business, not just a bit of kit or a bit of software for the sake of it. Oh, this or this, I'm sure this will change your profitability. No, this is something you can go, sounds interesting. Well, just keep an eye on it. Good, great. That's the best thing you could do for me. Just keep an eye. And you can go on a website anytime and investigate and research and learn, and we will speak at some stage in the future. But this is retraining we're talking about, because the old way does not work. They wanted it to work and they got everybody buying into them, but it does not work. And what my recommendation suggestion is that you, if you're CEO, you and one other person, one of your C-suite colleagues, do the course first. And that way you can say, I get it, I understand, I get this. We can go and get so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so, they can go and get that done. And the thing is, you want a really interesting thought. Businesses can spend between 25 and 45% of their turnover on new business. So we're talking sales, marketing, customer success, and so on. But not only does this operating system cost a fraction, absolute fraction of existing costs, but it replaces them all too. And at the end of the day, I mean, you can ask me for a cost. I can't give it to you off the top of my head because I don't know enough about you. But the exact costs depend on your size and scale, location, infrastructure, and so on. But it means your annual recurring revenue per FTE improves because when labour is replaced with architecture, predictability increases and your costs stabilise. And the all-important meetings is kind of like, I don't know, readiness driven. I mean, it's all good. I mean, I'm going to definitely kind of come into a close now. But I hope that I've given you enough of an insight to what the future can hold for your organisation. And I think this really is that it's got to be the most exciting development or change for B2Bs, because it puts the C-suite back in control of the whole journey. You know, it doesn't force you into a straitjacket, a marketing straitjacket. And the thing is, you've actually got to get this on the inside and understand it from your own company's perspective. And I think the best thing to do is to read the foundational documents that we've got, which is the revenue reset, and then the go-to-market landscape. It tells you about all the other businesses that are out there, what they do, and the GTM audit, the audit kind of architectural audit. And if you've already completed it, and you want to explore that next stage, here I am. You ready? If you want to book a course, a call with me, do that. Links below. Fill out the audit doc, and let me show you how it all works, how it all fits together. So, something for you to think about before we finish. What's required is this massive exposure to your total addressable market, and you want to attract a small percentage every week to watch or engage with you. So, what you need to think about is how much exposure are you actually achieving right now? Yeah? So how big is your TAM? And are you connecting with those who want to remain anonymous for now? Are you connecting with those anonymous prospects? I mean, hopefully you can see how this would work for your business. And if I've done my job properly, you'll simply remember that there's an alternative, finally. And we'll circle back a bit later. Maybe, you know, like when the next quarter's figures come in and you go, that was disastrous. I think we need to have a chat with this guy. But until then, I'll see you next week, 11 o'clock, same time, same place. Bye for now.
If this changed how you think about GTM, you're just getting started. Explore the full Revenue Reset series and join us live next week.